All right. Hello and welcome to our data analytics breakout session for the School of Technology Open House. My name is Shay Preem, and I am the Interim Associate Dean and Director for the Data Analytics programs. I'm joined by my colleague, Amy King Robinson, and she will be monitoring the chat and Q&A here to support us through our session today. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the Q&A, and she will be answering those. We also have one of our enrollment counselors who will be monitoring the chat as well. So please use that. I will answer any questions that they can't at the end of the session. All right, I'd like to dive deeper into the comment that was made in the overview video you saw a few moments ago and dig into data analytics now. Data analytics is truly an umbrella term and discipline that encompasses roles including data scientists, data engineers, analytics product managers, change management agents, and data architects. At WGU, we view analytics as the creative use of data and statistical modeling to tell a compelling story that not only drives strategic action, but also results in business value. Because the term analytics is so broad, there's a lot to unpack. The biggest takeaway is it's not just about data-derived insights. While that is very important and the data is critical, it's only part of the whole picture. It's a notion of data analytics being embedded within a business process. And you need to have an understanding of competencies around business influence. Things like communication strategies, change management, truly affecting change, understanding the business domain, and then thinking about where and how you're going to put those insights into a business process to be able to move forward and really make sure that the decision maker has the output of your analysis when it matters, so that they can then act on it. The notion of analytics is cyclical, it's a team sport, and it's a call to action. When we talk about analytics being cyclical, think about how we evolve over the years. We aren't the same person we were 10 years ago. As data changes, the analysis that you're running needs to fundamentally change too. When we talk about this notion of analytics being a team sport, we recognize how a lot of things have changed in analytics, and it really has become the umbrella where you have roles that include data scientists, but also now include data engineers, analytics translators. These people are the people that sit between the business and the technical team that are actually there to be change agents and storytellers. So you have these analytics product managers, data scientists, data engineers, and you have the data analyst, which has really evolved as a role itself. And all of these people come together to actually form the team of what we consider to be analytics today. Analytics could be anywhere in the business. As you think about your journey, you could go really technical, or you could stay towards some of the business influence skills, or you could find somewhere in between. And you can even change as you go, because we really don't know how data analytics will continue to evolve. We just know that there will always be data analytics. I want to touch on the last notion of analytics, and that's the call to action. Yes, again, the data is important, the model and the algorithms are important, but you need to be able to actually drive change with it. You need to be able to have a recommendation. There needs to be an actual strategy in place to show and educate how you use what the model output has provided. So all of this comes together to really form the ingredients to go into this definition that you see on the screen. And the great thing is, here at WGU, in both the undergrad analytics program and the Master's of Analytics program, these are the elements that you're learning. This quick graph shows you that data analytics exists pretty much in everything we do, even if you're not necessarily an analytics professional per se. The first stage on the left is identifying an opportunity where data can potentially provide value. There are different times in our lives we have particular problem that we're working at and we're trying to analyze. From our past experiences to be able to make change and or adjust to provide certain outcomes. So we have that opportunity identified there. Then at number 2, we try to transform the data that we have into actionable knowledge using data mining techniques. This might just be trying to put data into a logical order or do some kind of cause and effect analysis in a professional role and maybe tweaking that data in such a way to run a particular type of predictive algorithm. Or we may realize that we're looking at this data and you don't actually have all the data that you need in order to be able to run a particular analysis in your project. You need to take a step back for a second and put a plan into place for how you're going to collect that data. At the third stage, once you have the data and run some kind of analysis, that's where your opportunity to act on it happens. So, what are you going to do with this information? What does your analysis tell you? Are you surprised by these results? These are the questions that you may ask. Do you have to change the way the business works? And this is where you get all those analytics translator roles that come in, where you take the output from the data scientist, from the engineer, from the data analyst, and you start to put it back into business context. And then finally, at the fourth stage, you need to actually say, if I acted, did the result that I expect actually come to life? Or did something different happen? And if something different happened, why was that? Why didn't I assume that was going to happen? What was I missing? From the cause and effect of what you did based on the data insights that were derived. And then from there, the cycle restarts itself again. Life changes, people change, data changes, and nothing you build is static. So you continue to go through that cycle. So all of this information I've been providing comes down to a lot of different roles that you heard me talking about. Before I dive deeper and talk about those roles, I want to tie some loose ends together. Analytics is ultimately made up of roles that balance 3 key levers. A lever for programming skills such as Python or SQL, a lever for mathematical skills such as statistics and probability, and a lever for business influence skills. Different roles in analytics will have different combinations of these levers. As you are in your analytics career and education, you'll have the opportunity to navigate to the role that best fits your interests and passions, whether it be a data analyst, a data scientist, a data engineer, a machine learning engineer, an analytics translator, or some other to be defined analytics role that doesn't even exist yet. Our goal here at WGU is to build you a foundation that you can springboard from. The data analyst, which many might pursue as their first job upon graduation, will have all their levers at the midway mark, meaning that you can demonstrate competitive competence in each of the 3 skills domains without necessarily being an expert in any of those areas just yet. When we look at the data scientist role noted in green, you will have all 3 levers moved all the way up. This means that to be a data scientist, you need to have expert level skills in math, programming, and in business, which is why data scientist roles are seen as unicorn positions and why they tend to pay so well. The data engineer will have high coding skills and moderate math and business skills. The analytics translator that I've talked about, or the visualization scientist, are roles that are higher on the business influence lever. There are a variety of opportunities for you when it comes to pathing and flexibility, and again, adjusting those levers to meet your interests and passions. All right, the next couple of slides that are here are really around, is this career worth the investment? So the great thing about this is that job postings in the analytics field for both bachelor's and master's degree holders are seeing tremendous growth, which has been pretty well sustained. Data scientists are among the top 10 fastest growing occupations, according to the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics. We can see that data scientist roles are in double-digit growth or at or just below six-figure wages. I always like to caveat this with when I say data scientists, that's how the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics and the Department of Labor categorizes all job titles. So we talked about how there are a lot of different roles under this umbrella of analytics. So many of the roles that I just talked about fall under this Department of Labor umbrella of what a data scientist is. So it's not the data scientist where the levers are all the way up. It's more categorical of how the Department of Labor categorizes all of the jobs that I've been talking about so far. You'll see that lots of companies that are employing analytics today, ranging from Deloitte, Meta, Blue Cross, Amazon, Travelers, those are just large companies who have data analytics professionals, but there are all sizes of organizations that are hiring these data analytics roles, depending on kind of the direction and, again, those levers. So using data analytics roles in the general sense. If there is a particular industry like healthcare, finance, tech, nonprofit that really interests you, there's a very good chance that they're also hiring analytics professionals there. So again, when you think about aligning skills, interests, passions, you can think about the industry that interests you as well, and tying all of those together. Next, we're going to spend some time reviewing the skills alignment. One thing you'll see both in the undergrad program and in the grad program is this concept of a data analytics life cycle, which is really the analytics life cycle that goes from your business problem and your business understanding all the way through the model build, getting back to some kind of reporting and visualization at the end. Now, in the undergrad, it's really giving you a foundation, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. Yet in the master's degree, you'll go deeper into this life cycle. You'll become more of an expert in each of the different categories. But the thing that's interesting and really exciting is that as you go around the circle in the cycle, you can see where a lot of those different roles that make this more of a business process can start to come to life. So you have that business understanding up front. This is where a lot more of those soft skills are going to come in. This is the problem solving stage, and being able to work with your stakeholder as a true business partner is where this process really gets going. From there, you're going to start to translate that into data analytics problem statements. So you'll be able to work with data at that point. You will create your data wish list. You may be getting the data yourself, or you may be working with a team that helps you get that data. You'll see skills around data management, and you'll see tools in languages like SQL and Python or R. And these are different ways to get the data and wrangle it. You will clean it in the next step. And that is really about getting data to the adequate level where you can run your analysis that you will have confidence in. You'll start to explore that data. Once you have it, again, you may use SQL or Python or R. This is where you're going to see some of the traditional exploratory data analysis. You're really trying to dive into the data and then go back and ask business questions. Where things don't make sense, you want to make sure that you're immersing yourself and you're not making any assumptions about what the data is representing. You'll then go into predictive modeling of some kind, depending on what you're doing. Data mining and machine learning are where you'll see some of those more advanced programming techniques come out. And again, you might go into some of the coding like Python or R. You could use something else. And then finally, when you get back into the acting and learning stage, and you're looking at that 11 o'clock hour circle on the top left, that is where you have implementation and visualization. You'll have Tableau and Power BI, as those are tools to use for storytelling, to drive change management, process engineering, and helping the business consume what you found and what you predict and what you built to be able to really effect change. And then just like our cycle that we saw before, we'll start over again. The business will continue to evolve. The data will evolve. There will be new complexities, and we will continue to use this life cycle as a living, breathing thing. And sometimes we will have to go take a step back and do one again, or it's not always perfectly going. Sometimes you'll find something, and like we said earlier, you'll take a step back because you have to readdress some of those questions. So, but as you go through that life cycle, you will just continue to leverage that as you make those decisions. All right, I told you that there was a lot to unpack. So I'm going to let that sink in a minute before we talk about the bachelor's and the master's programs. And just as a reminder, if you have any questions, please continue to use the chat, as I have my colleagues there monitoring that and hopefully answering questions as we go. Otherwise, I can answer some questions at the end as well. All right, let's take a look at the Bachelor of Science in Data Analytics, or as we call it, BSDA. This is really where you'll get the foundational skill set you need to springboard your career. It's meant to prepare you for a career as a data analyst, or somebody who is junior on a data science team, or as a business professional that may want to specialize in analytics. You will see that the program balances math, programming, and business influence skills. As you can see, you really get a nice breadth of those different levers that we talked about earlier in this presentation. With this, the curriculum will cover data analytics lifecycle. You'll see coding like Python and R. You'll have statistics and predictive modeling foundations. You'll look at SQL for data management and data wrangling. You'll have visualization tools like Tableau, and you'll get exposure to machine learning, especially with the Udacity Nano degree that's offered in the program. You'll see here on the right a list of embedded certifications that you earn as you go. So you will have exposure to CompTIA certifications, and you will have the Udacity Nano degree, which I mentioned, which is a data analytics specialization. And there are also 2 optional business influence certifications in design thinking and change management that you can gain. So to wrap up, BSDA gives you exposure to the levers and to the different elements of the life cycle. All of this will help you find your passion and what really matters to you and really energizes you when it comes to data analytics. I'll leave this up for just a second for anybody that would maybe want to take a screenshot. All right. And then I'll focus on the Masters of Science in Data Analytics, or the MSDA, which is where you're going to get a much deeper dive into that data analytics lifecycle. And it allows you to establish more of an expertise in mastery of those skill sets, especially as it relates to your chosen concentration. So for this program, we actually have 3 different concentrations to pick from. So it's the Master of Science in Data Analytics, Data Science, Master of Science in Data Analytics, Data Engineering, or Master of Science Data Analytics in Decision Process Engineering. You will go deeper into each of the steps for the life cycle, whether it's sourcing data, mining data, doing your descriptive or predictive analytics, looking at visualization, and ultimately putting it all together in a capstone. So with this program, you'll have exposure to Python and R, again, common coding languages that you will see in the corporate space, whether private or public. You'll see a good focus on statistics from parametric and non-parametric testing. You'll see SQL, data management, and data cleaning. You'll have Tableau, which is a visualization for data presentation. You'll have advanced analytics techniques that will go a little bit deeper than what someone would experience in the undergrad program. In the master's programs, you'll see neural networks, you'll see market basket analysis, you'll see natural language processing, dimensionality reduction, and you'll have a nice suite of products to be able to use based on different business problems that you are going to come across. Our goal is to provide students with the mastery of core skills. Think of data analytics lifecycle and the skills that I mentioned a moment ago that anyone under the data analytics umbrella needs to be successful. So you'll get those up front in regardless of what of the three programs you pick. And then as you determine which concentration appealed to you the most at the time of enrollment, you'll move into that concentration where there'll be 3 specific courses focused on the concentration that you picked, and then you'll move into the capstone. And then just like in the undergrad, there are also embedded credentials. You will receive 3 internal WGU certificates, 2 from the core, and then 1 specific from your concentration. So there's a data operations, which helps students show that they have built and demonstrated competence in the organization and preparation of data for downstream analysis, as well as deployment of data analytics models. And that will come from 3 of the courses for data management, data preparations, and deployment. And then there is a data analytics professional certificate, and that will be showing and demonstrating the competence in the data analytics workflows, data mining approaches using statistics, and communication of data insights that drive organizational decision making. And that will come from the data analytics journey course, the data storytelling course, and the statistical data mining courses. And then again, you'll get a concentration-specific professional specialization. So for data science, that will demonstrate the machine learning, advanced analytics techniques, including neural networks, natural language processing, and numerical optimization. For data engineering, that will showcase the competence in the design, development, and evaluation of data pipelines to acquire, transform, and store data in scalable environments for downstream analysis. And then for the decision process engineering, that demonstrates competence in the design and development of project plans, business process reengineering maps, and decision intelligence workflows to integrate analytics into existing contexts. You can get those embedded certificates, whether undergrad or graduate, out on your LinkedIn and in your resume to start getting people as excited about you are about the accomplishments that you're getting in your program. So while you wait for that biggest accomplishment of your full degree, you can start to celebrate even earlier by sharing those embedded micro-credentials or certifications that you're getting. One thing to just emphasize again is thinking about those levers when you're thinking about the data science concentration versus data engineering versus the decision process engineering, which is going to be more of that business lever. But before we move into questions, I'll recap the 2 programs. So BSDA is exposure to the foundations of data analytics. It's the breadth of the information covered and learning about data analytics discipline generally, and learning most important skills to get started or switch a career. The master's program is about depth, driving deeper into statistical analysis, programming, machine learning models, and advanced data management. In our programs, you'll walk away with the ability to break down and think through analytics problems. Once employed, you're able to apply this thinking, helping to navigate analytical problems as you work to effect change. We say that a lot. You heard me say that a lot today. Really, our goal is to continue to help you understand how to effect change. All right, that is what I have today for our presentation. Amy, any questions that I can address?
Yeah, thank you, Shay. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yes, thank you.
Great. So we do have two questions in the Q&A.
Okay.
One of them is, how is data engineering taught since most companies rely on cloud platforms such as AWS, Azure, and or GCP?
Mhm.
Does the course cover these and provide data to work with within the cloud?
Yes. So we have partnered with a learning platform called Cloud Academy that allows students to get that hands-on experience in those cloud environments. So what we do in our 3 concentration areas for data engineering is provide students the understanding of how to scale and how to build those pipelines. So some of the courses are for example, one course might use AWS, where one course might use Azure, and one might use GCP, just so that students are getting exposure to all 3. We can't predict which job you're going to go to, but we also can't do every single thing in every single platform. So what we try to do is take more of an agnostic approach so that you're learning about cloud platforms from a general perspective, yet you are still doing tasks and projects through our partner Cloud Academy, where you're getting that hands-on experience in each of those, but it does change based on the course, and there are additional opportunities outside of the course that you can play in sandboxes. So if you know you're going to apply for a job where they're using AWS, you can do some additional portfolio building and some additional projects that you get access to for free from being a student. And you can do that and use that program more. But as you work through the courses and you work through the tasks, our tasks are set up so that you are getting experience and exposure to each of those cloud platforms, but you're also getting it from a kind of a general agnostic sense. So again, you might use AWS for one course versus Azure for another course. So again, opportunities to dig deeper on your own to prepare for your job search. But as it comes to the tasks and what we're trying to teach, we always focus on skills over platforms. So you'll find that throughout, whether it's Python and R, we tend to provide students the option of using either or. You're always learning both, but as you go through and as you get deeper, you might gravitate towards one over the other. So you have options to kind of pick the one that works best for you, or maybe you know where you're applying and they use one over the other, so you want to keep practicing in that. You'll always learn the skills on how to use those tools, and we'll always teach you how to think about using those tools if you were to switch. Similar to Tableau, we focus on Tableau, but we're always providing options and opportunities for students to learn more Power BI. So again, it's hard for us to predict exactly what you might need for your organization, but we're always teaching those skills and providing opportunities for all of those platforms. I hope that helps.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you. So we have one more question, and I know our session's about to end, but it says, if I'm changing industries and need to take foundations of coding and statistics before I start master's in decision process engineering, does it matter which one I take first between coding and stats with what's best for learning?
I think it depends on where you're coming from as well. If you feel confident with statistics, sometimes that it can be done first. I don't know. Amy, do you have a good answer to that too? I think sometimes it's personal preference, but sometimes there might be logic to doing statistics before the coding. I mean, it's a foundations of coding course, so you're not going to use too much statistics yet, but as you get further into your coding and program, you will need statistics. But the way that these two courses are set up, you could do either one. But I think when we have it set for the certificate that's over at WGU Academy, I think statistics is before foundations of coding. But Amy, if you have thoughts too from your perspective, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it just depends
Yeah.
on your personal preference and your background, and maybe what you are bringing to the table and already have more experience in, because they do kind of go together,
Mhm.
and how they kind of overlap and what you're going to be using. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
It's a
that's
great
kind of my
question
thought
and a
as well.
great thing to point out from admissions and just your success as you enter a master's program. So I really appreciate whoever posted that question, because it is really important that you do have those foundational coding and statistics skills to be as successful, to meet admissions, but to also be as successful as you can be in the master's program. So thanks for asking that question.
Yeah, we've got one more. Do we have time for one more?
I'm here. I can stick around, so I'm
Okay.
happy to answer one more.
Okay. If I have a data analytics certification from Google, will that be used towards the degree, or is it recommended to do the courses from WGU?
So in our program in the School of Technology right now, there is not any transfer credit from the data analytics certification from Google, but anything that you're learning is helpful. So when you do, if you're looking at, depending on what you're looking at, any pre-existing information that you have on data analytics is helpful. We're competency-based education. So if you watch the first half of the session, they talked a lot about what competency-based means, what that looks like for your pacing and being able to get through your courses based on what you prove that you know. So any knowledge you have is great, especially when it's a competency-based education program. But as far as transferring, we don't have any transfer credit for the data analytics certification. I'm kind of rereading that question to make sure I answered it right too. So I think that, I hope that helps from the part, is it recommended to do the courses from WGU. If you're looking at if you're looking at the master's program, again, that won't meet admissions requirements. But we do have a statistics and coding course that would help meet, if you're looking for something from WGU. The foundations of coding and applied statistics courses are available at WGU. So I would reach out to an enrollment counselor. They can help you navigate that a little bit more too, or you're welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Yeah, I'll answer this last question, and I'll also just say, make sure you reach out to your enrollment counselor with any additional questions that we don't have time to answer today. I'm also always happy to answer any questions. You're welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll always make sure to reconnect you with an enrollment counselor, but if there's a question specific that I can answer, happy to do that. Or shaylin.preem@wgu.edu is my email address as well. But I'll answer this last question before we end for today. How do we help students get jobs upon graduation? So we have an incredible career and professional services center that help build portfolios. They help with interview prep. They help with resume review. Again, I do joint sessions with them all the time, talking about how to build your LinkedIn profile, how to build an e-portfolio. So there are live webinars that I do in conjunction with them. They have tons of more generic sessions as well, but I'll come in and talk about partnering the data analytics roles with them. The course has lots of opportunities for hands-on practice. We have a data club that has hackathons. There's a women in tech club that also has additional opportunities for projects. So getting those projects helps build portfolios, which helps get you jobs. So endless opportunities where we're helping find ways to ensure that you get, helping set you up for success for your job search. So always looking for ways to do that. And the best wraparound service that we have is with the career and professional Development Services group. So, yes, I also see something about Handshake, which is really great too. Handshake is the board that offers a list of jobs and internships, and again, other webinars and things to attend as well. All right. I think we are about 5 minutes over, so I want to respect everybody's time, including my colleagues and all of you. But again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any additional questions, or please connect with an enrollment counselor and they can answer more questions for you as well. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, everybody on the call. Thanks for the questions and the engagement today. Have a great afternoon, everyone.